Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Retro Pop Planet. And I promise this isn't a clickbait title. It's actually a legit question. Is this shopping center cursed? Over the weekend, I saw a bunch of press releases about Jo-Ann Fabrics closing all of their stores here in the US. And I knew that this local store was going to be closing because I saw a post on Nextdoor, and I thought, I need to get out there one more time before they close, not because necessarily it's Jo-Ann Fabrics going out of business, but because of what this location originally was. I just happened to catch a documentary online from 2015 all about Tower Records. I think it was directed by Colin Hanks, and it's very good. I definitely recommend it. And if you're not aware, Tower Records was a chain of music stores that was founded in the Bay Area of California, gradually expanding internationally, and then they went out of business around 2006. So originally, this shopping center was built in the late 1980s, early 1990s. I definitely remember going there when I was in high school and when we were able to drive, because it was a movie theater, and it still is a movie theater, although you don't get nearly the amount of people in this shopping center at that theater as there once were. And because this was a local Tower Records, my friend who was in hardcore bands in the early 1990s, he played bass, this location sold musical instruments. And so he would drag me here all of the time. Now, I wasn't a big shopper of Tower Records because before I had a license or before I was able to drive myself places, this location was completely out of the way, and there was a lot of competition in this area. I had to actually make a list and just go through all of the different places that you could buy music outside of Tower Records, two of which are DC area institutions. The first one is Kemp Mill Music, the other is Waxy Maxy. And then we had regional chains founded in the New York City area. I believe in New Jersey was the Wiz. We had several locations in this area of the Wiz. Circuit City, which is found down near, I believe, Richmond, Virginia, and they were numerous in this area. We also had newcomers in the 90s like Best Buy, which is still in its original location, and then your big box stores like Walmart and Kmart, which was in walking distance of my parents' house. We actually had a Tower Records in Washington, D.C., which I may have gone in like one time, and in the video, Dave Grohl says he actually worked at that store as a sales clerk. Was at this Tower Records, I think originally was just a music store, but then they expanded into Tower Books, and they actually combined both locations. So you had a Tower Books and a Tower Records in the same store. And again, as I mentioned earlier, they also sold musical instruments. So they were in direct competition with other stores like Guitar Center. So the crazy thing about this corner spot is not only was it a Tower Records, and it was Tower Records for the entire run of Tower Records in the 90s and in the early 2000s when they were really expanding globally. And I'm surprised they hung on in this location as long as they did. Shortly after Tower Records closed, Circuit City moved in, and then they went out of business. And then sometime around 2010 or 2011, my local Jo-Ann Fabrics closed up shop. We thought they were going out of business then. Turns out they were actually expanding, and they expanded into the location of the former Circuit City. Now, what's interesting about this Jo-Ann Fabrics, and it's why we're going to visit it today, is it's a completely stripped down store, no frills. It almost is like a warehouse on the inside, and we can see the actual square footage and just see exactly how big this Tower Records really was. It's a store right here behind me. I wanted to get out here before they close because this one actually is slated to close, and the inside is like a big empty warehouse, and I want to actually see if there's any sales for personal reasons, but I want to just do a little walkthrough. Maybe not take video, I might just take some photographs, but we can see, I'll point out some areas that I do remember from when it was a Tower Records. This whole shopping center is crazy. This actually spent, I think, its entire life before the last year or so as a Bed Bath & Beyond. That chain is completely out of business. This is one of those pop-up furniture galleries. They've been advertising store closing for about 5 months now, so that's kind of what these stores do. But this is just on the other end of where the Tower Records used to be, and this was Bed Bath & Beyond. And up until about 2 years ago, there used to be like a plaque on the wall above one of these fire things that still said Circuit City or property of Circuit City, something like that. I can't find it. I think they took it down. I think it was actually right here. You can see the indentation. This was all part of Tower Records window displays here. And as I mentioned in my intro, they also sold books, Tower books. This is one of the concepts where it was actually united with the records. When you first walked in, you were immediately entering into CD Wonderland. Racks and racks of seemingly every CD ever produced. Just walls and walls of music. And this is before the vinyl craze kicked back in, so it was primarily CDs and then later VHS tapes, Laserdisc, and DVD movies. Somewhere on the back wall of the store were the instruments for sale with knowledgeable sales techs. The entire right side of the store was Tower Books, and you could purchase basically any music autobiography or biography of a wide variety of musicians. I, for some reason, remember they had a bunch of calendars and even sold band t-shirts. And as I'm editing this video, I'm noticing the unusual layout of the track lighting in this store. Check out how it lines up with the Shibuya store in Japan. This is probably the original lighting scheme for when it was Tower Records. The registers are in roughly the same place. I think one problem with this location is that the town center was built before Fairfax County got slap happy with creating parkways from one town center to another. Back in the 90s, it used to feel like you were island hopping from one shopping center to the next, and this one ended up being parallel to a main highway. It's still amazing to me that Towers stayed in this location for almost 20 years. They could have moved to a better traffic spot, but perhaps they were crushing sales, and there was no reason to move until the banks forced them to close after bankruptcy. Wow, that was a really quick trip. They are completely wiped out, as you probably saw in some of the photos. And I talked to the sales clerk. She says they don't actually know when they're closing, but probably sometime in the next 2 to 3 months. But I would imagine if they sell everything out and they're not restocking, it's going to be sooner than that. Okay, guys, welcome back. The one thing I will mention is we had some beloved record stores, small independent stores near where I lived, where actually a lot of the musicians that we grew up listening to or going to watch them play in bands, they actually worked. So not only could you go and maybe see a small performance in one of these stores, but the guys worked there as well. And it was always cool to just sort of hang out with them. Some of them actually are pretty big touring bands to this day. Maybe I'll do a video like that down the road. And you also never knew when you might see somebody from Fugazi. Anyway, guys, if you like this little video, please give it a like. Please give me a comment. Let me know what your favorite local music store was. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button for more content from me, and I'll see y'all in the next video.